we had a nice break.
Yeah, it was kind of a really nice break, especially for those working on that school building.
Yeah, they got a lot of dirt work done.
That's a good thing.
Uh,
I didn't know we were,
Hey, there was Mr. Sage. This is his.
you just pulled up. 17 pages. You read.
He's on the coalition. He can give us a synopsis.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll have.
Cliff's notes, huh?
Into order. All school board members are here. Pearl's online. We have Yancy here. I'd like to welcome everybody else that is online. This is a special board meeting to hear from the South Dakota Education Equity Coalition. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by Shelley. Second by Michelle. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Wanda. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. On the agenda, you will see that we have a discussion with RST Education Committee. They will be online also, but I thought we could start with Senate Bill 68. Who do we have that's on?
Matt Field inside.
Matt?
Yeah, sure. I'm on. I'm just walking back to my truck right now.
Oh, okay.
Also, myself, hi, Amy Sazu and I are also here representing SB 68. And we have a presentation whenever, do you want us to go ahead and begin?
You want to wait for Matt or do you want to go ahead and start?
Matt, what do you think?
You all go ahead. I can see my truck from here.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do a share screen. Oh, it says the host disabled share screen. Is there any way that someone can give me?
He's on it right now, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. I guess while we're waiting for that, we can do some quick introductions. I'll go ahead and start with Amy. She can do a quick introduction.
Good evening. I'm Amy Sazu, enrolled member of Rosewood Sioux Tribe. I live in Rapid City. I have 2 children that are currently in the Rapid City area schools, and I'm an organizer with NDN Collective.
And Matt, we'll go ahead and go to you for an introduction.
Hello, everybody, and I apologize for not being able to be on a computer. That's actually a picture of my son and not me. I should only hope to be so fashionable. But my name is Matt Cool. I know a number of you all there. I first moved to south of Mission in 2004 and have been in South Dakota ever since, working in Indigenous education, and still have a love of the Todd County Falcons, which gets me in a lot of trouble here in Pine Ridge. But I still rep all my Rosebud Shootout shirts, so I'm just happy to be here with you all today.
Thank you. And my name is Sarah Pierce. I am a member of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and resident of Rapid City, South Dakota. However, I have 4 sons who are currently enrolled in the Oglala Lakota County School District via virtual learning. And I am the lead facilitator of the South Dakota Education Equity Coalition. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all today and talking about this bill that we will actually be testifying on behalf of tomorrow morning here at the state capitol. So if, in case you're wondering why Amy and I are in a hotel room right now, we don't usually present from here, but we will be doing that. We'll be testifying tomorrow morning. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead. Can you all see my screen okay?
Yes. Sarah, would you like the board to introduce themselves as well?
Oh, yes, that would be perfect.
I'm going to start.
Go ahead.
My name is Shelley Means, and I am the board vice chair, and I'm a parent. I have currently still 3 students in the Todd County School District, and I've had 6 total, so.
Hello, I'm Tim Canoyer. I'm just a board member. I have grandchildren still in the Todd County School District.
My name is Deb Boyd. I'm the chairperson of the board. I have many grandchildren in Todd County School District. I have Sarah's sons are my grandsons as well. I have many. I've been in schools education for many, many years. I currently am employed at St. Francis Indian School.
My name is Michelle Allen. I am a board member for the Todd County School Board, and I also work for St. University in the nursing department. I have 11 children that have all gone to Todd County, and 3 of them are still in Todd County at this time, as well as some of my grandbabies. And I have a vested interest in the Todd County students and staff.
Hi Sarah, Amy, Matt, I'm Sage Bastog, and I have 3 children in Todd County School District, and first I'm a Todd County School Board member, and I currently work at I'm the head of school for Children's First Elementary School, and glad you could make it.
It's all yours.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. I am actually going to defer to Jody first, and then the coalition will conduct our presentation.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm sure all of you know who I am, except for maybe for the coalition members. My name is Jody Wyke. My maiden name is Carlo. I'm an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. I am a graduate of Todd County. I have 7 children. All but one have attended Todd County schools. And so I too have a deeply vested desire within the school district. And I'm here tonight. I don't know, have all of you had a chance to read my letter?
Yes, we have them. We
Okay.
all have your letters.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to read them. This is a very powerful meeting for me tonight, as I am very passionate about what we're asking you for. We're asking you for your letter of support, individual letters, collective letters as a whole, but we're asking for your support for this bill. And like what Sage said, the school translates to children first. And we're asking that you believe that wholeheartedly, that we are putting our Lakota children first and foremost in any decisions that we make. And so decisions that you make tonight can be very impactful. It can be very positive, and it can be towards change, a better change. Like my letter said, for 60 years, our children have struggled with the curriculum. They've struggled through, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. This is the right way. And for all of those years, they have failed. We have failed as parents, as educators, as continually putting my children through this. Well, just try it this way and maybe it'll work. I am just as guilty of that. But my children have the support at home to help them get through that. Not all of our children do. Giving them different options, a different way to approach education, a different way to live life is something that we have the opportunity to do right now. And I would really, really appreciate you guys' support tonight. Unanimous support. It shouldn't be a question of money. I'm just going to say it. It shouldn't be a question of money. It should be a question of what can we do as leaders and as elders of our community to make things better, because these children are going to be our future leaders. So I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, if there's anything else you would like me to address as far as the letter goes, or as what our school is about, the purpose of it, how you would like us to, if you would like us to present to you, what we're learning, what we're doing with our children, I'm more than welcome to do any of that at any time.
Thank you, Jody. We encourage groups to come in, but right now, during this time, our meetings are closed, so that's why we're having a virtual one. But at any time, we'd welcome anyone to come in or present, virtually or however you would like. Any board members, comments?
Not at this time. I'm still reading here.
Okay. Thanks again, Jody.
Thanks, Jody.
Here, Jody.
Yes, thank you, Jody, for that wonderful opening. Can you all see my screen okay still?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Amy and I are presenting this evening on behalf of the entire South Dakota Education Equity Coalition. Right now, we are approximately 50-something odd members strong and growing each day. Just to give you some context and background, the South Dakota Education Equity Coalition was established in August of 2019. And at that time, we were founded for the sole purpose as a broad-based cross-sector organization to champion and promote what we affectionately know now as Senate Bill 66, which I will get to momentarily. But beyond that, we actually became a little more formalized this year with the shared vision to really promote cultural proficiency for our Indigenous students, so that we have innovative, equitable, and inclusive learning environments that leverage both the diversity of language and cultural identities represented in our communities, and without sacrificing academic rigor or cultural identity in the process. This is a picture from last year's legislative session when our SB 66 was voted unanimously in the Senate side of the legislature. So that was a really momentous occasion for all of us. So going back, like I mentioned, the South Dakota Ed Equity Coalition was established in August 2019 for the sole purpose of pushing what was SB 66. And then after a strategic priority session this early spring, or the early spring of 2020, we actually formulated our goals to include 4 other areas in addition to our school choice initiative. So going back to last year, Senate Bill 66 was supported by all 9 tribes in South Dakota. It was supported unanimously by the South Dakota Senate, the South Dakota Tribal Relations Committee, all 9 tribal education directors, the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Association, among others. We actually failed to make it out of the House Ed Committee last year at the legislative session due to oppositional testimony that came specifically from the Oglala Lakota County School District. And this posed a unique challenge, not only for our bill's sake, but it also raised some questions about sovereignty suppression because we had a full resolution of support from the tribe. We also had support from the tribal education director. And then what we saw was a state-funded entity come out against the sovereign right and choice of the people to say they didn't want it. And so unfortunately, what it showed the members of that committee was that we were not homogenous thinkers. And I say that very facetiously. But in other words, they just felt like it wasn't something that all Indigenous people could agree on. And it was something that just died in that committee that day. So stemming from that process, after we debriefed with a lot of different folks around that, we reconvened with Oglala Lakota County School District on a number of occasions to date. We solicited feedback from them and asked them specifically what we could do to help them create more of a buy-in or safety net around the bill, to which we received no response to date. We've also met with Rapid City area schools, and then tonight we have the wonderful opportunity of meeting with you all. And we'll talk about the importance of meeting with the 3 specified school districts closer to the end of the presentation. But I just wanted to enlighten you on that process from last year's legislative session until today. So after going through a long process with our school choice team on the South Dakota Education Equity Coalition, we decided, per advice from others, that we would maintain the same language of what was Senate Bill 66, which is now Senate Bill 68, and act to create and fund a network of Oceti-Sakowin community-based schools. We know in the great state of South Dakota that due to financial and personnel limitations that there is no way that our state could sustain blanket charter school legislation. However, we do understand and recognize the importance of schools that are grounded with community input in mind. When we think about the way that school was introduced to all of our peoples back in the day, it was really a compulsory imposition with virtually no insight from our people as to how they wanted this education to be grounded. So Oceti-Sakowin community-based schools are schools that are grounded in the thought and philosophy of the Oceti-Sakowin essential understandings. As practitioners, many of you recognize that South Dakota has the Oceti-Sakowin essential understandings that are statewide recognized set of standards. However, to date, we know that there is no metric assessing the level of implementation of these standards, nor do we know to what fidelity. We also know that virtually by many districts, they're considered to be an elective or optional part of the student's day, an entire curricular experience, really. So these schools would basically be designed with the OSEU at the very foundational level as the floor, not the ceiling of potential, right? And it would be designed in direct collaboration with all stakeholders as part of that school design team. And fortunately for your community, you guys are leading the way and showing us what a community-based school could look like in South Dakota. And you'll hear some more testimony as far as that goes momentarily. But as an extension, and I always preface by saying that in my former role as an English teacher, I actually cringe at these slides that are so word heavy, but I believe that having these little bullet points help alleviate some of the biggest concerns around SB 68 from what we were hearing in consulting with others. So basically, community-based schools in continuation are public schools. They're not compulsory, but they're a choice option for families who shared the same value and mission that the school does. And then these schools are also inclusive. They're not going to be exclusive to Indigenous families. It went anywhere they're placed in the state of South Dakota, but they'll be open to anyone who would like to attend. And the unique thing about community-based schools is they are so characteristically small in nature, especially in their startup years. And once again, you guys are really the leaders in this community and showing us what this looks like with one class that gradually expands each year to until your optimum grade level range is achieved. And then in accordance with the South Dakota State Constitution, these types of schools must be approved for board education by the Board of Education in the local school district in which a proposed school desires to be established. And we'll go into that right now. But before I go into this application, Matt or Amy, do you have anything to add at this time?
So I don't have anything to add. I'll be available as questions come up, but I'm just going to sit in here and continue to enjoy the presentation.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm showing you right now a nice little flow chart of the application process that appears to be last year's flow chart, so I apologize for that. Amy did create a nice updated flow chart with our brand new logo that's a little more polished, but this will suffice. Essentially what happens once legislation is passed, an interested applicant of a community-based school would submit an application that will be determined through the promulgation of rules process by the state upon bill passage. There are two options once the application is submitted. The school district can either approve the application and then the school would then advance on to consultation with the district to determine a contract. If for some reason the school district decides that they, for whatever reason, will reject an application, the applicant is entitled to they're entitled the right to know the outcome of the application within a 60-day process. If they find or they determine that their application was worth an appeals process, they could go to the state and outline the reasons and rationale why their application should be, why it should be appealed. The state would then determine whether the grounds for rejection is valid or isn't valid. If the state decides that the grounds for rejection is not valid, then they would enter, the state and the school district would enter a conversation and determine whether or not the school move forward. And then once both parties consent, then they would go into a performance-based contract. If the state also decides to reject the application, that's where that application ends. And then the applicant can either go back to the drawing board and decide to perfect the rationale as to why they were rejected, or they would just settle with the rejection. But basically after, on the flip side, after a school district and an applicant enters into a performance-based contract agreement, the founding group opens the community-based school. And obviously that's a very arduous process. It's not a matter of, okay, legislation passes tomorrow. Any John Doe out there could apply and start a school tomorrow. As Sage Fast Dog shows us, it's a very labor-intensive process that goes into a number of years of community input, etc. And I will allow them to talk about that momentarily again. But the purpose for the, I guess the contractual agreement identifies things that will actually be expected by the community-based school to outline in their annual report. So information regarding students' overall achievement. So we're not talking just academic achievement, but we're talking holistic wellness achievement in the areas of cultural identity, mental health, etc. So all of those will be taken into account with this annual reporting process. And then at this time, basically, there are other metrics that the districts may uniquely decide to add as a point of assessment as well. And then these annual reports will be due obviously every single year. And then at the end of a 5-year span, the DOE and the district will decide if the school is indeed successful, the school will continue in operation. If the school is found to be failing to meet the needs of students or failing to meet the intended purpose of the school, the district can decide to pull that at any time. And then just some quick facts to remember that are really key important facts about this Senate Bill 68 is that ultimately the local school district has complete control over establishing the school, meaning that not anyone can just open a school. They would have to go to their community and make a strong case for why the school needs to be established and then show the merit that they're able to create that school. The school is within the boundaries of a local public school district, so they would be considered part of that school district. And then the school board must approve the school and all contractual obligations as part of that agreement. And then another key point to remember is that these schools are very small in nature and they gradually expand each year. And then just the other part is if the school board denies an application, DOE or whatever authorized entity that will come as a result of the promulgation of rules can review the application and decide whether or not the school or applicant has a claim to have the district reconsider based on the validity of their application. I guess, are there any questions, comments, or concerns? I know that there are other parents here that are wishing to offer some on-the-ground testimony because as I mentioned, you all in Todd County are well ahead of the bar when it comes to this. You're already doing something that we hope to achieve through this legislation. And so we just want to be able to be here to support and give them the funding mechanism to sustain this beyond these initial startup years.
Can you text me? Can you text me? Is this a parent calling in for the meeting? Okay. Then I'm calling.
Is it possible for parents to speak now?
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Rahami Hello, relatives. Greet you with a good heart. My name is Wizi Panlitalog. I'm a citizen of the Sichongo Oyate, Todd County resident. And I just want to speak in support of SB 66 and I urge, or SB 68, sorry. And I urge the Todd County School Board to officially support this legislation. You know, we are taxpayers, Native Americans. We know that the school receives a lot of impact aid money, you know, because of our land. And you know, we're active voters, participate in elections, and just urge the school board to take official action to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Madonna Sitting Bear. I'm actually Weezy's wife, and my child does attend the WT school. And as a mother, I also urge you to vote yes and saying, you know, making a resolution to support the school. I've seen a lot of good things come already from this first half of the school year with my child, and it's everything that I've always heard community members want for our children, and bringing the language into the school systems and the culture and everything that surrounds that. I'm just glad to have the WT school system, our school, for my child. And once again, I just, would like to ask you guys to support this, support us, and support my child most of all, because our children come first. And as a Lakota woman, my child comes first. So I ask you to vote for my child.
Thank you, Madonna. Do we have anyone else?
Me takyapi chante washte na pe chuzap makbia hede najili emachiapi washichi mi chajeki Krista White miniwaka oyate imataha wana si changu machoke ma koche ekta mission alwati eksto. Good evening, everybody. My name is Krista White, and I too have a daughter. Michungshi Wachekyawi. She is a kindergarten student at Wakainja Tokekchi. And I too, and I'm here to ask you for support from the Todd County School Board to stand with us as a Tioshpe, as an Oyate, to support our kids and to be that voice for them and to write a letter of support or whatever you choose to do. I ask for your support for my daughter and most of all for all of the children of the Sichangu Nation. This bill, Senate Bill 68, is going to benefit all of the children. And I just feel that it is extremely important for each and every single one of you to take into consideration of the importance of our language and our history and our culture and supporting this bill. And whatever you decide to do, I really do appreciate it. And I also want to add to each and every single one of you Todd County School District board members that I too appreciate the time, the strength, the energy that you continue to give to all of the children of the Sichangu Oyate. I'm a mother to 2 students as well, to Todd County School, within the Todd County School District. And I really appreciate the decision that you've made regarding our children for online learning. I couldn't, I don't know how to show as much emotion and appreciation that I have for each and every single one of you. I still continue to keep every single one of you and your family in my thoughts and my prayers based on the decision that you have made for our children. This benefits not just my kids, but all of the kids all within, the Todd County School District and the Rosebud Sioux tribe as a whole, the elderly, all of the relatives, every single one of them, we're all going to benefit from that decision that you have made. And I just want to add that into with regards of my appreciation for every single one of you. Wopila.
Thank you, Krista. Do we have anyone else?
Hi, good evening. My name is Deanna Eaglefeather. I am a parent to Carlos Iron Eaglefeather, who attends the Lakota Emerging School. I also have a student who currently is in the Todd County School District. He attends Oak Creek Elementary. And I'd just like to thank you all for allowing us to speak on behalf of our children tonight. I would like to show my appreciation to Sage and Shanice and Jackie, the current educators at the school that my little one attends in kindergarten. They have done an exceptional job as far as bringing this to fruition. I can only imagine how difficult it is to start a community-based school, especially on the reservation, and have it bring the Lakota language and the culture along with it. So on behalf of my son, I'd like to thank everybody there, his educators, And I'm hoping to that we get y'all support in approving this bill 68 for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. Do we have any more wanting to speak?
I would like to ask, can you vote on this tonight or make a resolution, something up in support of the parents, that are here asking for the support, the community, the amount of people that have put so much time and effort into not only their own children, but children that they don't even know, children that are yet to come. So we ask that you guys do this, thinking in our traditional Lakota ways of thinking 7 generations ahead. So I ask that you keep that in mind tonight, and I ask that you would vote to do this tonight with us so that we can do this as a whole, as a board, as a community, as a nation of people.
Jody, it is an
Deb.
action. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Deb, hi, this is Nora Antoine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. I just wanted to offer some testimony here, not as a parent or even a resident of Todd County, but certainly as someone who is born of this land, has graduated from Todd County, our oldest daughter graduated from Todd County. And I wrote a letter of support for SB 68 to the South Dakota legislatures today. And in crafting my message, it struck me, and what I stated in my letter of support to them, which I think is highly relevant, especially to Todd County. As Sarah has mentioned, we are in a very fortuitous situation here because of SAGE and the Sicangu CDC Redco's support of our school. So I really want to applaud the parents for the leadership at Redco, as well as Sage and his leadership. As you know, Sage was a longtime educator at Todd County, and now Alan Wilson is there. And it seems like but I am asking not just your support by the Todd County School Board, but I strongly urge you to vehemently support this bill, because I think it'll really help Todd County. If you think back, it will help Todd County as a district solve a really hard nut to crack. And that is the issue of how does a district strategically, respectfully create not just courses, but entire broad-based curricula that is immersed and taught by teachers who want to be employed, who want to serve as like the auntie, the uncle, the grandparent. And, Deb, I know that you're a longtime educator at the district. All of you on the board have very strong ties. And it seems like the Sicangu Oyate here have an opportunity as a board to strongly support this bill, because it will ultimately help your district. You can actually learn from Sage and his staff how to immerse children in a way that helps them flourish, not just with, the standard curriculum and knowing how to read and write and do math, but to blossom into their whole selves as little Lakota human beings who are all gifted, but need an opportunity to grow into that gift. And so I think by your support, and I would even, challenge the Todd County School District to financially support this school, because you can learn very strong lessons and then incorporate them into Todd County. And we all are aware, yes, there have been many, many attempts and many, many people who have tried almost for decades and nearly their professional lives to do what this little school is trying to accomplish. So thank you for your strong consideration and for your good work in education, relatives.
Thank you, Nora. Jody, to answer your question, we do have it as an action item in a motion on our agenda for later in the meeting, so.
Thank you very much.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak? If not, let me check my phone. If not, Sarah, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you all so much for all of your strong testimony. I guess I would, Deb, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I would echo the sentiments of all the parents, and thank you all for all of your service and commitment to the school board and the children in your community. And we're really grateful that you took some time out to have this special meeting today. So we'll be here for questions. Otherwise, we'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Any of the board have any comments, questions?
I guess I have a couple of questions, Sarah. This is Shelley. What was your primary opposition last year, or why did it not make it out of committee?
The primary opposition, as we see in most bills of this nature, was around funding. Districts felt threatened by the funding. Despite our urges, and again, you guys are at a really strong advantage because you're seeing what a community-based school looks like in its inaugural years playing out over there in Rosewood. But community-based schools are significantly small in nature. As Weezy mentioned, all of the families who attend are also taxpayers based in the community. And so it was a real threat to funding was the primary point of opposition. The other thing was in Oglala Lakota County's opposition was that they had a bond issued for the establishment of their new high school. However, last year we were really conscious of that, and in the language in section 25 of the bill, it actually protects any pre-existing bonds from July 1st of that bill's passage year. And so that would carry over in the same way. And then Matt or Weezy, if you would like to add any additional factors into that, if there was something I may have missed, feel free to do that as well.
Hi, y'all. This is Matt. So to echo what Sarah said, typically what we hear from districts is there's an opposition to the belief that the district will be losing money in this. The schools that would open under Senate Bill 68 are community-based public schools. They would be a part of the Todd County School District. The school district would have the option to approve the school, as you saw in the flow chart. And what we know is this as well, is that South Dakota is an open enrollment state. And people have the ability to choose where it is that their children are going to go. Most of you all who know me know that I now live over on the eastern side of the Pine Ridge Reservation. And I choose to educate my son at a Lakota language immersion preschool. Now, when it comes time for him to eventually enter into kindergarten and be a first grader, he doesn't have that option. That option doesn't exist. And so what this does is it would create choice for other parents. Now, at this time, there's no indication that a school is going to open in Oglala Lakota County, and that breaks my heart. And it also strengthens my argument to my wife that we should move back to Rosebud. So I appreciate Sage for that and need to say thank you to him for that. But what we see at the end of the day, and I think what's clear is at times folks can be afraid of change. Out of one side of our mouth, we can say we want everything that's the best for our kids. And when we see that there's another option that may benefit students, if it rocks the boat in the status quo, we're scared and we back away from that. And we sometimes have a hard time holding the mirror to ourselves, seeing where is it that improvement can occur, because so many of us have spent so many years doing this. But I think the opposition is not unfounded, but I think it's ungrounded. And so I just really encourage you all to think today about offering that letter of support to show that Todd County is in a place, as Nora and Jody said, to be a leader in public schools in the state.
Hi, this is Wizipha. Just to build further on kind of what was said, one of the arguments that opponents always put out there is that we're going to be taking money away from schools. Well, when in fact, if Todd County was opposed for that reason, then they should be opposing the St. Francis Indian School as well, because any student who attends St. Francis, in using that argument, would be saying that they're taking money away from Todd County. And furthermore, if that was an argument that was ever put forward, then I think that drastic action would need to be taken because of the high dropout rate in Todd County. For every student that drops out, that would be money that would be lost to the school district and really lost to any school, which is dependent on per pupil allocation of funding. Furthermore, what we actually see is that if we utilize educational practices that are important and that work, we're going to see increased academic performance, which is going to lead to higher graduation rates and higher college matriculation rates and higher college success rates. If that happens, what we're going to see is a massive boost to our local economy. And we actually did a study on this, and it showed that the economic benefit over the long term that we would probably see from a school like this with increased academic output is that it would save the state of South Dakota $57 million annually, and that's just Todd County. So when we talk about money and we're talking about funding, it's actually in the best interests of the population and the school district and really all of South Dakota, but especially we're talking about impacts here in Todd County to support this legislation.
Thank you.
Deb?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just received a text message from my babysitter, and she informed me or asked me to bring up and discuss about the loss of the elders that we've experienced this year, our fluent speakers. Spring Creek community has just lost 2 within the last couple of months. Her grandparents, Pearl and Dennis Spotted-tail, have been lost within the last year. And on her dad's side, her last grandma, her grandma's sister that lives in Oak Creek, is the last fluent speaker in Oak Creek. She is currently in a nursing home and she's not doing well. So when this Unchi does make her journey, Oak Creek community will become silent. There will be 0 fluent speakers within that community within a year or 2. I mean, I don't know how ill she is right now, but within that time frame, Oak Creek community will become silent. There will be 0 fluent speakers in that community. Right now, according to the Lakota Language Preservation Program, there are 0 fluent speakers under the age of 18. That puts us in grave danger of losing what we are as people. I know that it's a scary thing, and especially when people are thinking, the money-wise, thinking things like that, but that's not who we are as people. We don't think about that money. We think about our children, we think about our future, and that language is precious. We cannot lose that. So I urge you to keep that in mind. Keep your grandchildren that are in this district in mind. They may someday want to join this school, any school. They may someday want to learn their language, and they may want to become fluent. And we aren't going to be able to offer that to them much longer if we do not do something now.
Thank you, Jody. I started to say, Shelley asked the question about, what was the reason for Ogallala County schools? And we hear so much about funding this, a lot of stuff isn't approved because of funding. So do I understand that there would be no increased costs to the state or taxpayers? And these schools would basically be funded the same way public schools are funded? Is that the way I'm understanding it?
Yes, you are 110% correct. And the unique opportunity that community-based schools present, especially what we're seeing over there in Rosebud, is it really creates an increased buy-in because, as you know, the partnership with Redco creates philanthropic avenues of support that these schools can tap into that that increases their, chances of survival. And I think Weezypon or Sage can enlighten you more about that process because they're the most developed community-based school site so far. But to answer your question in short, yes.
School boards, we deal with, funding, a lot of funding. Sage or Weezypon, you have any comments in regards to that funding?
Well, I just think as speaking from the head of school and as a community member, and the funding that each and every one of our students in South Dakota and in the state and the United States, when they're allowed public school, that the money follows the student. We don't keep it. We don't withhold that because that's withholding services. If there's a service that any of our children need when they go to a different school, we want them to have that service. And we shouldn't hold it. That's just unconstitutional to do that. And the opportunity that Todd County, St. Francis, whatever, the schools that are operating on reservation, Whiteyville Christian Academy, these are Sapelo, the ones that are operating on independent, Sapelo and Whiteyville Christian Academy, all kinds of Kokekchi, Children First Elementary, it takes a lot to sustain a dream, 5-year dream to establish, that goal. The goal of Wakani Kokekchi is to produce fluency within 4 years. And to sustain that is also means, just like Takani, if you want our kids to graduate from high school, well, then you have to have kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And you have to have staff that can teach those courses. And you want them to be have the credentials to know what they're teaching. And you want them to be able to master their craft in delivering instructional strategies that work. And with the state and federal funding, where that increases the chances of having that success. So a school like WET moving from private, mostly operating off of financial services, private funding, moving to a state level. WET, it wouldn't change much because our teachers are certified through the state of South Dakota. Our Dakota language teacher is certified to teach language. She's also certified to run the school. And she's got her credentials in exceptional education. And I myself am certified. The idea is that we have to take back the onus of educating our students when we know it works. When we look at data and it shows us where we're at, we can continue to let things happen the way they are. Think that if we keep decorating the wheel, that it looks different, it's going to be different, but that's insanity. And we can't be doing that. We have to really make changes. And so a lot of to open a school in Rosebud and to have a vision like that, it takes a lot of responsibility on a person, because you're not only having a responsibility to design a school, academic plan, operations plan, financial plan, and then working with the community, but you're also now in charge of students that come into your school and making sure that they meet their benchmarks, making sure that you're giving feedback to the parents, making sure that they're growing. just as any student has in our current public school. So to say that our school's taking money away from district, that would be selfish of me as a board member to say we're doing that, because that's not what we're doing to help another part of our school like St. Francis to, you know, and allowing them to operate underneath Todd County umbrella of Todd County gives more opportunity, just parents' school choice. So they can have the opportunity to have Lakota language instruction, but also they still get the opportunity to do any other subject areas like math, reading and writing, science, social studies. It's just in a smaller, it's going to be in a smaller school. And the same funding that the students come in with, that they get funded with in kindergarten, that's the same funding that would just go to the students that choose this school over here. It's not taken away from anything. It helps in sustaining. It helps in school to sustain itself. And that's, you know, as far as as the head of school, that's my perspective. That's my perspective on where I think I would talk to the board. There is really no money we're taking away. It's about having the same opportunities as any other student in the public setting. If we were in peer, I'd want the same thing. So it's the fact that we don't have any policies at state level that says that we can have a strong Lakota language program in our current public system. It forces schools like WT to come up, especially whenever you have a language that's about to go extinct within 10 years. And the pandemic has elevated it to a dangerous route. And myself, as a first language speaker, it explains why I exited the district in the best way I could. I finished my work, but I came back as a leader on the district here to show my commitment that I'm still committed to students, but that I'm also using the skills that I learned to provide another avenue of education for our parents and families that want Lakota language to live on. Are they taking money? Or are they helping our people? That's what I want to do.
And that's why I asked that question, because I didn't, there are so many misconceptions. And then after Shelley asked that question to Sarah, and then I just thought, well, it's not really any different than public schools. So Shelley has.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I asked that question. My intent was to get people to understand what the opposition was and give them the opportunity to explain that, it's really unfounded. So, and that was my intent in asking the question. We have people that may be watching or people that may be joining us online that, don't fully understand and aren't aware of last year's bill. So I wanted to give them a little bit of background, which is why I asked. But, anybody who knows me knows, well, unfortunately, my 3 youngest are now in high school. My youngest is a freshman. So, this is an opportunity that I didn't have with my kids. And had there been an opportunity for my kids, I would have taken it. So the next best thing was, you've got one of my nephews enrolled. As soon as I heard you were opening up enrollment, I got a hold of his mom and I encouraged her to enroll him because this is a great opportunity. And like I said, had it been available to my children, I would have taken it. So I just want everybody to be informed, but I also wanted to kind of dispel some of those misconceptions, which was my intent when I asked the question.
Thanks, Shelley. I see that we have, our superintendent's online, so is our curriculum director and our teachers union president. And I'm wondering if any of you have any questions to ask. Comments. Carol Galbraith is our superintendent. Krista Morrison is our curriculum director. Tess Connett is the president of the teachers union. Krista?
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So I think my one comment is that when I think about my vision for Todd County School District, and the vision I think all the leaders have is to have a wide variety of opportunity for our students. And I think that if this fits our, like the financial feasibility, I don't know enough about that side of it, but I do believe in like what Sage was saying, that it brings opportunity, excuse me, to our school district, and that it allows us to diversify what we offer students, and that it helps us to keep kids here. And as long as whoever comes to us with a plan has a good plan, we get the opportunity, as you as the board get the opportunity to decide whether a plan is feasible. And I think that's a powerful part of the bill, is that the school board gets to determine it at that point in time. I don't see why we wouldn't allow people the opportunity to put forth something that would offer our students this type of an opportunity.
Thank you, Krista. Carol, do you have a comment or question of anyone?
I would like to thank everyone for joining the meeting tonight and sharing information. It's very important to be informed and be able to ask questions. I don't have any questions at this time. I'm just enjoying listening to the dialogue and listening to the comments and the explanations myself, so I have a better understanding. So I appreciate that and thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Any more board members?
One question I have, maybe Sage can answer this right away, or Wheezy, is this will fall under the Todd County School District, am I correct?
Yeah. And basically, is that the question?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So hypothetically, a school, get an application in front of you, you look at everything, just like you would look at a school improvement plan, just like the way you improve anything that any administrator has ever put in front of us. The same way you would look at this. And the same type of assessments that go with it, and the testing. It's a public school, you say public school. So, and that's how you would look at the school and accountability of each school. So if they're not making progress, then we question that as a board. So it's the same way it would be with the schools. That, like knowing where we're at right now, why we question the whole process, we need data. That's the same thing we would ask the schools too. That or the school that would put an application, like, well, let's see the improvement there. How's the attendance? What's the grades look like? And we expect that report back and within when the reports are due. That's the. It's,
yeah, and again, just to kind of reiterate that, to form one of these schools, an application is made to the Todd County School Board. Todd County School Board reviews it and then makes a decision. Just kind of, that's the big point. That's the short. That's the real answer, right? At the end of the day, you guys are approving a school app or application or not.
One of the things that I'm concerned about is the fact that I think the SDEA is openly opposed to funding South Dakota funding any of the charter schools. And that was at the meeting last year that I went. So I know it's the uphill battle this is going to be when it comes to the bill. But speaking personally, I'm in favor of any improvement we can make in the school district. That'll get the students to come to school and to perform much better than they are now. And that's not to say that this school is inadequate because we have a lot of staff that are trying their best to reach out and to get these students interested in competing. I'm open to looking for something else that'll work better. So that's how I personally feel about it. I'd like to see more information. I just got the Senate bill in front of me. I didn't get to read it yet, so. But I don't know. I just think that we owe it to the students to try something different. So I'm all in favor of that point of it, but I have questions of the legalities. That's why I ask about the school district would be overseeing this school. That's one of the questions I have. But personally, I'm in favor of it.
I think if there's any questions come up, Tim, about it, I think, we're talking about like if there's a concern legally about whether, it's the school, it's the school's fault if they don't perform.
Just like any other school.
Just like any other school. So we're, if they, it does state it in there too, whatever, if they go, financial, they don't got it together, well, that's the school, that's not us. All we're doing is making sure there's a fund to go to the school to support the students that are there so that they can, and then through reports, progress, and ultimately it's up to the board of the school to decide whether the financial plan is adequate, whether the operation plan is adequate, whether the academic plan is adequate enough to be confident to say you can open the school.
Basically tonight, we're just seeing if we're in support of it or not, then going further, because we'd still have to review the plan as a board.
Yeah.
Before the application, we'd have to review that anyway, so.
Yep, yes.
So I have a question. So did our little schools, our outlying schools, did they go through a process somehow like this to become where they are now as part of Todd County, or how did this?
Little schools meaning?
Like Klein?
No. They're public schools, part of Todd County.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, did they ever have to?
Not to my knowledge.
I just wondered if this.
Yeah.
They probably existed prior to.
They were like little, most of them are little country schools, and then they became part of our district.
Okay.
This is a full immersion attempt.
And for those of you that don't know, Todd County has 13 attendance centers. We have approximately 2,100 students and 450 staff. So, I mean, Todd County is not a little district. I mean, most people, when they say Todd County, they think it's just one school. But I mean, we have a big school district. And I have notes written all over. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask some clarifications. I did hear, and Tim, I did hear one of my notes says that local school districts will have complete control. And there needs to be a comprehensive plan in place before any of these schools would be open. And these plans would be reviewed by the school district? Is that what I heard? The school district meaning the school board, or like the administration, the superintendent, the education?
Like the school board. The
school board would approve.
We decide to bring in the curriculum director to review it or to.
You'd have a team.
You'd have a team, yeah.
And then someplace. So these schools would be, they would maintain their academic rigor while, be culturally sustaining.
Yeah, they would meet state standards.
Yeah.
Cam public school, their state standards are recorded in there. We already have just to note, we already have a Spanish immersion school in Sioux Falls. Sonia, she was the judge who inaugurated
Sotomayor,
yeah. She was the judge, if you guys watched the inauguration today, where she, with Kamala Harris. So they have a immersion school already that's supported by it's in honor of her name and what she done. But it's emergent school in Sioux Falls that is already a public school. So they're, just want to say that because when this bill passes, if I have to come in with an application for our school, the medium language for instruction is going to be local, just like it is at this emergent school in Sioux Falls, it's Spanish. So, and they'll still have, all the state standards that students meet as a kindergarten. Most schools have an ECOT that they use, early childhood observation tool, to make sure that their children are, developing what is measured at. So that's the same thing that our WT has, and I would expect that from any applicant that they have a way of measuring this. That's unique.
It just sometimes I make myself notes and then ask questions, and then I just have to put it all together. And anyone else? Questions? Anybody on the phone calls?
Actually, Deb, this is Sarah. I would like to interject with one more additional comment about the bill. This is something that we actually talked with Oglala Lakota County School District in Rapid City School District, is that this bill basically, to answer some of your questions and points of clarification, the local school district does have full authority over the approval of this application and then the negotiations within the application once an agreement is established. Another factor that I wanted to throw out there in terms of the administrative side of school districts is that this bill presents an opportunity for school districts to be extremely creative and innovative without liability to the school district, because the entire liability of this community-based school will fall on the applicant and then their 501c3 that they are partnered with. And so in my opinion, based on the coalition's efforts and the compromises that we made to develop SB 68 to what it is today, I feel like it's a win for both the state, the local school district, and then Indigenous communities, because it does give us the chance to take over and decide what our students need and cater that unique to the needs of our communities. And so without implication to the local school district. In fact, I see it as an opportunity to create a replicable model that we can use in the future. The great thing is if a school was to evidence failure, although I don't think that'll be likely, the school district doesn't have liability over that failure. It's something that they're able to essentially pilot within the district, once again, without any implication. And if I can just add that as a point to consider, I would leave you with that.
Thank you, Sarah. Do we have any more comments, questions from anyone that's on?
This is Tess. I have a couple of questions. When you say the school district has full authority, does that mean the school district hires staff?
No, I'm
does
sorry.
Terminations, those kinds of things, or is that?
No, I'm sorry. I meant.
That was my question. And then does, go ahead.
Or did you want to answer, Sarah?
Yeah, sorry. I think my internet connection is lagging because it appears as I'm interrupting a lot of people. I'm sorry. But when I mentioned that school districts have, or school boards have authority, they have full authority to approve or deny applications. And then upon approval of an application, they would enter the contract agreement phase, in which they would have full consultation to determine what the outcomes of that would be. The other thing I wanted to mention, in light of the fact that this will be a publicly funded entity and that taxpayer dollars are going back into the community-based school, is that especially in places like Rapid City, We do know that public education affords us a lot of opportunities, or students a lot of opportunities that private schools don't always have, and that includes equitable access to things like nutrition services and transportation and special ed, and all of these unique opportunities as part of a contractual agreement would likely funnel back into the local public school district anyway per the contracted agreement. So because there are an array of services that a community-based school in its inaugural years wouldn't necessarily be able to provide, but would be able to contract and work collaboratively with their local district to achieve.
Another question, Tess?
No, not at this moment. Thanks.
Do you mind if I make one point regarding
Yes.
the bill? I think the bill is, a strong bill, and I think it's a strong idea. I just want to make sure that there's the understanding that there is nothing that stops the school district from creating this type of a school within a district without the bill in place. So a school district could decide to create their own school, Ochedi Shakowin, essentially, school without having a bill. So I just wanted to make sure that that is clear, that there, that that's something a school, our Todd County could do without the bill in place as well.
I'd like to kind of just jump in there. So theoretically, yes, the school district does have that ability to do that. However, it's been 60 years and we really haven't seen that. So, I think it's important to, really look at the de facto situation as opposed to the de jure situation. Yes, that authority exists. It just hasn't happened yet. And one of the reasons why I support this is we think that, a school like this can model the way for other schools to do this on a broader basis.
Thank you. Krista, any more?
No, I just want to say that, that's a very valid point. I agree, it has not happened. I just wanted to make sure that the board was, that was a clear message that it's something that we could do, even if the bill doesn't pass. But I do think the bill is well thought out. I think it makes a lot of sense. If as long as the financial implications for the district make sense, which I haven't had a chance to really look into as much. But I anticipate that you would keep more students in district. I always believe you keep more students in district if you have more options that meet their needs.
Thank you.
Is Chad here?
No. I know we've been talking about things like this for a very, very long time. And I've been in education in Todd County for a very, very long time. And Todd County doesn't do a very good job of walking their talk, unfortunately, when it comes to culture and language. And I think this is the opportunity for us to do that. And I would like to ask the board if you feel that we are ready to make that motion and support Senate Bill 68. Because this is, statewide, and I feel we're at that point right now, and I would just like to ask if the board feels we're at that point.
I'm ready. I would make that motion.
Before you make the motion, I want to add something. This motion is just to support what they're doing. It's not the fact that we're approving the plan yet. We're just supporting what they're trying to do. Is that how I'm reading it?
Yes.
I
Yes,
just make it
they
clear
need
for
the
the record.
support, yes.
So the motion reads, Todd County School District supports Senate Bill 68, community-based schools. So I will make that motion.
Motion by Shelley Means,
I'll second.
second by Michelle Allen. I'll call for a vote. I would like to do a roll call vote. Shelley Means,
Yes.
Tim Canoyer,
Yes.
Deb Boyd, yes. Michelle Allen,
Yes.
Sage Fastdog.
Yes,
Should Sage vote on this? He's involved with the school.
I'll make a statement on before this why my constituents want school choice at a state level, supporting a state level policy, in this case, Senate Bill 68. It's going to serve Ocheti Shakoni people. When the bill passes and when I come to the board with application, I'm going to state there for right now, I'm supporting that bill that's at the local level for other schools, other people to have opportunities. So that's why I'm voting yes. So
I just wanted to bring it up, so.
Okay, the motion passed 5-0. It was unanimous. Sarah, are you still there?
Yes. Thank you so
Woohoo! Wopila.
This is like beyond amazing news, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for taking a stand in support of students and Indigenous student equity today. And I feel like this is a very historic day, not only for your school board, but for the entire state of South Dakota, taking a step forward in the prosperity of our students.
Thank you, and I would like to thank you for coming and doing the presentation, because that's why we had you here, because we wanted to know, hear all about it. And I have one more question of you. We supported this with an action item. Would you need a letter as well? Would that help?
That would help tremendously, and it would also help if you would allow a member of the school board to testify as a school board member at tomorrow's testimony, and then also at various points throughout the legislative session, if you're able to do that.
Okay.
Something to ponder here a second.
Yeah.
I would love to do it, but I can't tomorrow. I've got stuff for the college I'm doing.
So this is Matt, and I just want to say, I know it's relatively short notice for us to be able to ask you to present tomorrow at the Senate Education Committee. If that is an option, that is awesome. We'd love to figure out how to get somebody to do that. What we'd really appreciate too is your support as we move out of the Senate Education Committee tomorrow. We believe we have the votes that we need to move things forward, and would just ask that the district be supportive throughout the Senate as it moves to the Senate floor, and then to have somebody from the board who would be willing to testify at the House Education Committee in the event that we make it as far as the House Education Committee, which, given last year we were 35-0 in the Senate, that should be happening. So that would be my other ask, if tomorrow's not an option.
Well, I think it kind of took us all, every one of us are employed, so, and then with, pandemic and stuff, so we'll take that into consideration, and then,
And give us advance notice.
Yeah.
Maybe so we can plan
for
better for that.
Certainly. And I think Sarah can pass over some language for you to potentially be included in the letter of support. I don't want to speak for you, Sarah, but I know we have some support letters that have already gone out from the tribes, so that could help in the drafting of the letter as well.
Absolutely, Matt. If you would like, Deb, I can forward you the tribal resolution template that we've been sending out, and then you can modify that as you feel necessary.
Okay, you got my email, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and best of luck moving forward, and will certainly be in my thoughts and prayers.
Yes, we wish you well, very well.
This is Madonna sitting there again, and I just want to say thank you for being brave and for taking this stand with us and for supporting us as parents with the WT school. I'm very happy, and this is the first of many, but thank you again. Lila Wopila Pilamaya.
I too want to thank you all for doing this tonight and for understanding the importance of what we're trying to do and what we can do for the future. Thank you very, very much.
Welcome.
This is Matt. I'll echo those sentiments. I would lead, but I'm no good at it. So I just want to say thank y'all. And this just makes me really happy. Like I said, Todd County was the first place just south of Mission where I landed in 2004, and Deb and some other folks who have transitioned and some other folks who have walked on are the reason I'm still here doing this in 2021. So I just want to say thank you to all y'all.
Thank you, Matt.
I too, as a parent to a kindergarten student with Wakaya Jantogekji, want to say Lila Wopila Tonka to each and every single one of you board members and your support and your continued encouragement that you continue to give to all of the kids of the Sichangu. I'm just beyond grateful and appreciative of your voice and your continued leadership that you show. Yeah, thank you. Wopila.
If hearing nothing else, we do have another discussion with the Rosebud Tribe Education Committee, if anyone is on from there. I didn't get anything. Do we have anyone on from the Education Committee for the tribe? I will get a hold of Donna Hollowhorn-Bear. She's the chairperson of the Education Committee. I will get a hold of her tomorrow. I do know they have an Education Committee meeting coming up the first part of February, I believe, so. We'll touch base with her in regards to that, so. There is no need for an executive session. Remember, we have board training on February 3rd.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. And that will be by Joe Holbeck. Our next board meeting is next week. I would like to thank you all for tonight. I appreciate it. And teamwork makes the dream work. Any comments before we move to close?
Deb, can I address really quick before you guys are done?
Yes.
Sorry. When you meet with Donna,
Okay.
I would like to ask if you could encourage them as well to support this and everything that goes along with it. You know, you can pass on the words that we gave, the information, all of those things, but the more people we can have on board with this, especially from here, the better it's going to be for our children.
Perhaps whatever I get from Sarah, I could pass along to them and have them, you know, do their letter of support or something if they choose. Thank you, Jody. Any board members like a closing remark?
I think we're going in the right direction. I just waiting to see how the Senate goes, the hearing, and if it passes and we go to the next step of reviewing the plan and application. Yeah. I too agree. Think it's a good thing. We have to be cautious as a school board how to proceed also. But we do support this as a group, as we proved tonight. So
I just got a text that Rosebud Sioux Tribe's already offering support.
Nice.
there you go.
Excellent job, board.
Everyone for their input, questions, and asking, you know, and also what the legislation is about, how it affects us. And just really like that about this body. governing body, we're able to do that. Making sure that we make our decisions very clear. And especially supporting, you know, the school choice that, it's not, we heard from parents from Rosebud, but we didn't hear from parents from Rapid City or Pine Ridge. But the fact that we support that, the hard work of individuals to put together this, and the hard work that individuals have put together a school choice to improve their skill, improve their areas, is us allowing that is what's you know, I just very like to be part of a group that supports school choice and give an opportunity to people to be industrious and to improve their communities. Thank you.
Oh. Shelley?
I don't really have anything else to add, I guess. You know, it's a much needed option for sure, and has been for a while. So.
Thank you. Michelle?
I just want to wish you all luck in legislative session, and we wish the best for all of our children. At least I'm male, they were pretty united in that. So we'll be luck for all you do.
With that, I will adjourn at 6.